Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Ordinary Council meeting of the 26th of February. As with all of our council meetings, they are live streamed, and I shall read the declaration now. The Shire of Murray Ordinary Council meeting is being live streamed and recorded on the Shire's website in accordance with the Local Government Act 1995. Members of the public attending this meeting consent to the possibility that their image and voice may be captured on the recording and live streaming. Statements or decisions made at this meeting should not be relied or acted on by an applicant or other person until they have received written notification from the Shire of Murray. Welcome to the staff that are in the gallery and our two members of the public. We've got Mr. Beecham and my son, my youngest child, is here to critique me tonight. So, welcome. We have everybody present except for Councillor George, and I'd like to take the moment to convey our deepest sympathies to Councillor George on the passing of her grandfather last week, I believe. So she is not with us tonight. We have no leaves of absence that have been tendered. We have no response to previous public questions. And I have one written question which I shall read out, and then if there are any questions from the floor, we will move into those. But this question was received in writing from Ms. Christy Nichols of Ravenswood, and the question reads, I'm a resident of Ravenswood and I'm writing to request that the council reconsider its position on the development of a footpath/cycle path connecting Ravenswood to its neighbouring centre of Pinjarra. I raise this as an equity and inclusion issue. This week I saw an elderly gentleman using a mobility scooter on the shoulder of the busy Pinjarra Road, heading in the direction of Pinjarra just past Murray Bend. Indeed, my husband has a disability and his access from Ravenswood to either Mandurah or Pinjarra is very limited by the lack of footpaths in either direction. Ravenswood is a rapidly growing development with a boost in rates to be subsequently incoming to the Shire of Murray. I suggest it is therefore viable for Council to direct some of its revenue to a plan for the incremental development of pathways along the stretch of the road, at least in the direction of Pinjarra, if not Mandurah. Demand for this access will only be increasing as Ravenswood grows and the Council is in a position to support a newly emerging community with at least a plan for gradual building of this fundamental infrastructure. And so our Shire response to that question is the Shire of Murray is very aware of the importance of this pathway. Future development between Pinjarra and Ravenswood will enable a shared path network along Pinjarra Road to be accommodated and ultimately located within the adjacent private land. An additional shared path is also being planned along the Murray River foreshore to provide a more interactive and community-focused network. This important project has been somewhat problematic to progress in recent times due to a lack of support from a landowner who is objecting to this proposal. Major shared paths are reliant on various agencies and development progression to evolve. The Shire of Murray will continue to work towards a positive outcome for shared paths. Do I have any further questions from the members of the public present? No? I have received no petitions or approved deputations, which brings us along to confirmation of the minutes, item 6. 6.1 being the ordinary council meeting of the 18th of December 2025. Gee whiz, it seems like an eternity ago that we said 2025. Do I have a mover? Councillor Rogers, and a seconder, please. Councillor Lee, to pass those minutes as a true and accurate record. All those in favour? That's passed unanimously. 6.2 is the special council meeting of the 22nd of January 2026. Likewise, do I have a mover, please? Councillor Kirkham and Councillor Black. Any comments or questions in relation to those minutes? Being the case, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? It's passed unanimously. Item 6.3, annual electors meeting of 29th of January 2026. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Carter and Councillor Cashman to second. Councillor Carter, have you got a question or would you like to speak to the minutes?
Yes, I just wanted to say that I wanted to thank the CEO for the answers in response to the questions that were raised during the annual electors meeting via correspondence. His responses were clear, detailed, while still being succinct. Plus, when I read them, I learned a few things myself. So I just wanted to pass on that. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Carter. Are there any other comments or questions? That being the case, we'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? That's passed unanimously. Which brings us to item 7, announcements by the presiding member. They shall be attached to the minutes. And item 8, announcements by elected members will also be attached to the minutes. Item 9, acknowledgement of receipt of disclosure of interest. I have not received any. Are there any elected members that have any that haven't passed them on yet? Nope. Item 10, reception of minutes and recommendations of committees held since the previous meeting of council is nil. Which brings us through to the reports of the Chief Executive Officer and officers. 11, planning and sustainability is nil. Item 12, corporate governance. 12.1, payments from municipal and trust funds for December 2025 and January 2026. Do I have a mover for those? Councillor Black and Councillor Rogers to second. Are there any comments or questions in relation to those payments? Okay, we'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? That's passed unanimously. Item 12.2, monthly financial report for December 2025 and January 2026. A mover, please. Councillor Lee and Councillor Willis to second. Any comments or questions? Put that to the vote. All those in favour? It's passed unanimously. 12.3, change of date for the June Ordinary Council meeting. Councillors, you are I'm sure aware that of the recommendation being that it conflicts with the local government convention in Canberra, which the CEO and I and the Deputy Shire President will be attending. So we have a recommendation there to move the meeting a week earlier. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Black and Councillor Carter. Do either of you wish to speak on that? Are there any comments or questions? Excellent. All right, we'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? It's carried. Item 13, Recreation, Economic and Community Development is nil. 14 is Infrastructure Services. 14.1, proposed closure of a portion of an unmade road reserve, Days Road, Inglehope. We have a recommendation there, councillors. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Kirkham and Councillor Rogers to second. Is there anyone likely to be opposing this? Councillor Kirkham, would you like to speak to the item?
I just that it makes sense as some of the landowners' buildings are actually on the unmade reserve, so yeah. There's no negative submissions put in.
Councillor Rogers? No. Well, if there's not going to be anybody opposing, if there are any other questions at all before we put the item to the vote? No? All right, put the item then. All those in favour? That's passed. (14.2) Proposed closure of a portion of unmade road reserve between lot 201-8 and lot 410 Henry Street, Pinjarra. Okay, and we have the recommendation there. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Willis and Councillor Black. Councillor Willis, would you like to speak to the item?
Just that I'm in full support of this item. This road closure then allows for all the further development in that area that council has and the officers have been planning for much time, and hopefully then that will see a greater activation in that area. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Black, would you like to speak? Is there anyone likely to be opposing this recommendation? Are there any comments or questions?
Yeah, yes, I have a question. My only concern is that, as you probably are aware, staff from, say, the Historical Society and also sometimes the quilters, they use that access and park at the sort of towards the back of their buildings. Will this closure now mean that they're not able to do that?
Mr. Smith, are you able to clarify that, please?
There will be no change to the actual layouts. It's purely The road reserve will amalgamate into the greater Glebland Reserve. The actual layout doesn't change, it's just a title change of sorts. As you're aware, we're doing the master planning now, and we're getting that feedback from all those groups. We had one-on-one meetings with all the groups, and those access arrangements won't change.
It would certainly be my hope that however we activate that space, we can put whatever access we deem appropriate to service any of the facilities there. Any other comments or questions? Okay, we'll put the item then. All those in favour? That's passed unanimously. Item 15, items for information. 15.1, delegated development application decisions for December 2025 and January 2026. They have been attached for information. Is there any councillors have any questions or queries in regard to those? Nope. 15.2, outstanding council resolutions for February 2026. Again, they will be attached for information. Which brings us through to item 16, business left over from a previous meeting is nil. 17 is elected members' motions of which previous notice has been given is nil. And 18 is notice of motions for consideration at the following meeting. Do any councillors have any motions to put forward? No? Item 19, new business of an urgent nature approved by the presiding member. That I have not received anything that needs to be addressed there. Which brings us through to item 20, which is meeting is closed for the public for confidential business. Now I need a mover, Councillor Rogers and Councillor Kirkham, to go behind closed doors. Before we do that, I'm sorry, members of the public, the meeting for you has finished. You're welcome to come in for the closure if you like, but that'll take about 15 seconds. Thank you. Okay, we've got a mover. Councillor Lee will second. All those in favour? It's unanimous. We need to open the door just to make sure that our two members of the public aren't hanging around out there. Can we just go back, please, to the recommendation, because I need to read that. So for the purposes of the live stream, the resolution for the confidential item reads that Council advises Rivers Regional Subsidiary that the deed of variation number 3 for the Kwinana Waste to Energy Waste Supply Agreement is acceptable and authorise the Shire President and Chief Executive Officer to execute the agreement in accordance with Policy G1, execution of documents, and that was carried unanimously. Which now brings us through to the closure of the meeting, and I close the meeting at 5:50 p.m. Thank you, councillors.